This is Breakfast Central and the show continues, and now we're getting into something a little bit different as we shift our focus to the beautiful martial arts that is karate. Now, when people think about karate, they often think about men. However, the status quo has started to change in recent years as women's increased participation in typically male-dominated sports has grown. So I'm really excited to be joined by Lauretta Egba, who's an entrepreneur and karateka, and she's going to talk about the well-known forms of martial arts. Good morning, how are you?
Hi, good morning.
So I'm reading the script, and I'm like, I disagree, because I started doing Aikido from the age of 4.
Oh, really?
But I mean, let's talk about the various forms of martial arts from judo, Aikido, jiu-jitsu, karate. What differentiates each of them?
Well, it's pretty much about the techniques.
Okay.
The different techniques, some have a combination of 2 or more, like mixed martial arts has a combination of some different forms, different techniques. Karate has its style and it's slightly different from Taekwondo, but essentially it's all to gear towards the same end of mind and body preservation, I guess.
Okay, and from my experience with Aikido, our class was mixed. There was no, there's no male Aikido or female Aikido. Does the same apply for karate?
Of course, yeah. Female,
it's one.
Male, kids, old people, it's just one.
It's one art.
Yeah.
And, let's talk about, what you just talked about, how karate is about mind, body. Let's talk about the art of it. What is at the foundation of the art of karate?
So karate started as a form of self-defense where people could fight for themselves without the use of weapon. So I can't remember the original word for it, but it's something about open fists, where people have the opportunity to defend themselves and stand up for themselves in certain situations, and that's where it all started from. And many forms of martial art actually started based on the same theory. So karate now is what everybody sees is the self-defense part of it, the part where somebody comes to you, you can throw punch, anything like that. But then there's also the fact that karate is more, in fact, I believe is more mind than body. For example, there's something we call zanchin, and that is basically awareness. So no matter how skilled you are in karate, even if you've been fighting for dog years, if you are not aware of your surroundings, anybody can still get you down. So zanchin is that ability to focus and basically understand what is going on in your surroundings. So if you're driving a car, who is moving around, because if you can't see first, you won't be able to make a move. And even when you're fighting with experienced fighters, they tell you if you spend more time training, you get to a point where you can kind of like anticipate moves before they happen and know how to block them.
And I suppose this is how this ties into the conversation we want to have today about the 16 days of activism and, teaching women and young girls about self-defense. And so, you're talking about anticipating moves before they happen because, I know a lot of us aren't trying to push girls to, go out and fight, but being able to defend yourself. How impactful do you think this has been for yourself and for other young women as even just a confidence builder to know that, should in the highly unlikely event that something should happen, I will be able to defend myself?
You said likely, so yeah, being a woman is a lot of stress as it is. You already said it, it's all about the confidence. So I don't walk around looking for somebody to come and attack me, just waiting. But there's this increased sense of confidence and self-esteem that if for any reason I'm found in a situation that is beyond my control, I know I have a fighting chance. And the fact that not many women or not many people expect women or young ladies to do karate, you have that element of surprise. By the end of the day, if it is self-defense you're opting for, the goal is not necessarily to fight and win. The goal is to basically fight and take flight.
Okay.
So just distract your opponent and be able to run, because sometimes you don't need to
engage in an actual battle.
In fact, in karate, they tell you the first thing is avoidance. So if you can avoid a situation as much as you can, if you can avoid fighting as much as you can, that is like 90% the better option than having to engage in combat. But yes, there's the confidence that if for any reason I have a fighting chance.
So at what point do you engage in combat? I'm putting this in the context of a woman, a young girl who's threatened, on the streets in her commute. At what point do you, know that, okay, it's time for me to engage?
Okay, so like I said, the first thing is avoidance. Where avoidance is not possible, the most important thing you now have are your legs. You know, you need to run. Yes. But if you can't run, at that point where you know you are cornered, you can't run, probably you are being held, that's when you now have to put in one or two techniques to get yourself out of this situation.
And what are the basic, firstly, what belt are you?
I'm blue.
Okay.
So I had gone 6 belts.
6 belts, okay.
So I have brown, then black.
Okay, so you're almost there.
Yes.
You're almost there. You know, what are the basics? Unfortunately, we can't really demonstrate here, but well, you know, what are the basic moves that you know, before not everybody will be able to get to a blue, brown, or black belt, but you know, at the introductory level for a woman, what are the moves that she should at least know that she has these mastered besides the flight? So the first move you need to master is running away.
Yeah.
Apart from that, you know, I know there's a lot of stances and so forth.
So there's a whole lot of techniques. However, in a situation where you're trying to get yourself out of trouble, I believe whether you're punching or you're kicking, the goal is to destabilize your opponent.
Okay.
So you have to target areas that basically break them down. So we're talking about the neck, there's a part underneath your chest, basically.
There's a point there,
yeah.
yes.
There is your stomach. Well, some people, depending on how strong the other person is,
okay.
Stomach does not, it can...
you know, if there's a pot belly, it might not do the trick.
Much.
Okay, so what are we doing to those areas? Are we kicking? Are we grabbing? What is it that you do to those areas?
So it depends on how you are cornered.
Okay.
If you can hit the neck, that's a punch. You can have a straight punch to the neck or a strike. Punch or a strike to the person's neck.
Which one is a strike?
Something like this.
Okay. I really wish we could demonstrate this. Okay. So a strike or a punch to the neck, that's sure to buy you some time to escape.
Yes.
Or to this place where you would wind the person and then...
Yes. There's also the knees where you can just get the person to fall down. Yeah.
Okay.
So for example, if you are being held here, if you have somebody holds your blouse or something, you can drop to the ground and turn around just to...
Girl, see, do you know, there's something similar in Aikido. It took me a while to get that, but I know because there's also a technique to how you fall without hurting yourself as well.
Exactly.
Okay, but ultimately, I suppose 101 is to understand those sore points, the neck, you know, just under the chest here. Yeah. If you can get the person, you know, on the ground, those are the major things that women should sort of master, right? Yeah. And you know, what if the person is armed or has a weapon?
Now, with weapon, you need to be experienced to try to get it out of your hands.
So just if run. Basically, you're saying run.
If you're inexperienced, just run.
Okay.
If you're inexperienced. But if you are experienced, you will be, over time in classes, self-defense classes, and years of training, you'll be taught how to disarm the other person. But if you're inexperienced, just run. Or beg. Because sometimes it's not that easy. Because in the process of trying to disarm the other person, you can shoot yourself.
Yes,
if
that's
you're not
true.
Careful.
Or if it's a knife, you can stab yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Now, where do you train? I believe karate is called training, right?
Yes.
So where do you train, and where can women, you know, come to a safe space where they can, you know, learn self-defense and build confidence?
Okay, so there are a number of dojos in Lagos. But I train at Dojo Kaizen. Okay. It's we have our trainings in Eco Gym on Wednesdays and Mondays from 8:15 p.m. Okay. And then on Saturdays from 8 a.m. All right. So there are a number of other dojos, but of course I love mine because mine is, I think, is the best. So. Yeah. So, but normally, depending on what your goal is with karate, it is advisable to visit a couple of other clubs and then decide, okay, if this is the perfect fit for me. Some clubs are more skewed to combat. Some are more to the technicality, the form rather, and because there's the things we do, we call it katas. It's more like a dance. So it's like a combination of different techniques into one dance move. And it kind of gives you a broad perspective of options. So when you see us perform it's more like we're dancing. We'll go left, go right, move around and do the whole weird
almost like
stuff.
capoeira.
Exactly.
Okay.
Do the whole weird stuff. But what that provides you with is a myriad of options of different techniques to choose from if you're in any type of situation. But some people just want to go straight to the let's fight.
Yeah, so I suppose, I mean, if you're after self-defense, then you probably just want to go straight for the combat and just understand your basic moves and get really good at them.
My dojo balances it.
A little bit, because you can have fun with it as well.
Of course.
Lauretta, this has been insightful. I love seeing the images of you in action with your blue belt in your kimono. You know, and just also, I'm glad that you're able to dispel the notion that, you know, there's a men's karate or a women's karate. There isn't. Martial arts is, you know, doesn't see gender. Exactly. Incredible. Thank you so much. And we look forward to hopefully joining you one day in the dojo and picking up a few moves. Wonderful stuff. That's Lauretta Egba, who's a karateka, and she's given us some insight into self-defense and, of course, using martial arts to navigate the world, especially as a woman.